Alright, so quick recap, don't write any of this down. In the early beginnings of psychology, we had debates on if the mind and body is connected, believed by Hebrews, Aristotle, and Augustine, or disconnected, believed by Socrates, Plato, and Descartes. By the way, Descartes thought that we had animal spirits inside of us. Then we have the first formal psychology experiment, performed by Wilhelm Wundt of Germany, who tested out the difference in time between reacting to hearing a ball drop and reacting to realizing you heard a ball drop. He also created the first psychology laboratory, also in Germany. Then you have ideas about structuralism, promoted by Edward Titchener, and functionalism, promoted by William James. We also have John Locke, who believed in tabula rasa, that the mind is a blank slate. Modern psychology is very diverse in respect to their perspectives. There are branches of neuroscience, evolutionary, behavior genetics, psychodynamics, behavioral, cognitive, and social cultural. There are also subfields of psychology which includes basic research that may take place within biological, developmental, cognitive, personality, and social terms, and applied research such as industrial organizational, clinical psychologists, and psychiatrists. Why do we need to know about psychology? Because we as people have a tendency to perform what is called the hindsight bias, meaning that if the fire alarm went off here at school, all of you would say, whatever. But after the building burns down, you suddenly say, I knew the building was going to burn down, all of you guys should have left. In regards to the scientific method, the process is create a scientific theory, formulate a hypothesis, define your operational definition, and then replicate your study. Good theories are able to organize a range of reports and observations, as well as have the ability to make predictions. You can perform research in 3 different ways. You can have a descriptive take on it, which involves the case study, the survey, and naturalistic observation. With the survey, you must be aware of wording effects and how you sample your people. Your samples must be specific to the target population and randomly selected. Also beware of the false consensus effect. You should not ever overestimate how much people think alike. You can also have a correlation take on research, which is typically displayed in scatterplots, which can have a -1 to +1 ratio. Beware of illusory correlations and try not to make sense or create patterns from random data. Also, correlation is not causation. The last research measure is experimentation. For experiments to be legitimate, you will need to keep in mind of the experimental and control condition, the independent and dependent variables, as well as randomly assigning your test subjects. Typically, experiments make use of the double-blind procedure, meaning no one knows who is receiving the real treatment or a placebo. To make sense of all the research completed, you are now going into the statistics of psychology. Pay attention to how data is described and graphed. Take note of the central tendencies of information such as mode, median, and mean. The variability of data can change its reliability, so look at the data's range and standard deviation. If you find differences in your data, make sure that it's a reliable difference, and then you can calculate its statistical difference. That's it for Unit 1. Refer to your study guide for vocabulary terms and specific questions regarding these concepts.